Hello and welcome to the Christina in the Valley podcast. I'm your host, Christina Gavin, and I am beyond excited for today's conversation. We're diving into the dynamic world of entrepreneurship, resilience, and the magic that happens when incredible women take charge of their dreams. But hold on to your seats because today's guest is an absolute powerhouse. She's not just a CEO, she's a trailblazer who dared to launch her own startup right in the heart of the pandemic storm. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to the amazing Loren Lewin, CEO and founder of Companion Candles. We've got a jam-packed episode lined up covering the highs, the lows, the invaluable lessons learned on the road to success. Loren and I will be delving into the art of launching a startup from scratch during a pandemic, the thrill of disrupting an entire industry, the importance of prioritizing self-care in the hustle, and the profound impact of empowering others along the way. So whether you're an inspiring entrepreneur, a candle aficionado, or someone simply ready to soak up some wisdom, you're in for a treat. Without further ado, let's welcome Loren Lewin to the Christina in the Valley podcast. As always, if you love our chat, please be sure to like and follow so you never miss an episode. The best way to support this podcast is to share with your friends and family. You can find Loren on Instagram and TikTok at Companion Candles, which will also be linked in the show notes. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Christina in the Valley for some exclusive and behind-the-scenes content. Let's get into it. Loren, welcome to the podcast. It's such an honor to be sitting down with you today. When I found out about your female-owned business and the disruption it has made in the industry, I knew you'd be the perfect guest for the Christina in the Valley podcast.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I am seriously so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. So, what sparked, no pun intended, the idea for starting a candle business, especially during the pandemic?
Awesome question. So I always like to set the stage of I was not in candle making. I was not a scientist. I was not in this at all. So this actually sparked from my rescue dog over COVID when, our apartment really became our hotel, our gym, our office, our everything. I was like, what can help us relax? What can set the mood? What can change our mood? And I've always, always, always loved candles. I love that you can light one, feel one way, light another, feel another, all that good stuff. I did not realize how toxic and unregulated the industry actually can be. I like to say it is bad for us, worse for our pets. There can be 200 plus toxins in one candle. When I found that out, I was honestly appalled. I couldn't believe that, you're lighting something in your house and it's giving off these toxins. So I thought there has to be a better way to do this. Long story short, after many formulations later, I found that there actually is a way that you can do it. So companion candles are free of the top 250 toxins typically found in candles. Everything from mutagens, carcinogens, endocrine disruptors, acute toxins, reproductive toxins. We are a coconut soy wax, the longest, cleanest burning wax, and we use an FSC certified wooden wick. We are made in the US as well.
That is so cool, especially the fact that you did this during the pandemic. Were there any specific moments or experiences that inspired you to venture into the pet-friendly candle industry, which isn't something that most people even know about? I mean, you could have done anything. Why did you choose candles?
So my dog is my world. And honestly, the more I talk to people, especially I'm 31 years old, people around my age, we are putting off having children. Our pets are our fur babies and we want to protect them. And I thought, he's honestly in the house more than I am. And so the air he's breathing is really, really important. I've always cared about what I'm eating, what I'm putting in my body. And I thought, I'm not going to go start a food company, but I use candles all the time. This is a passion of mine. So it was sort of like a good marrying of the two.
When you first started, did you think that it would become what it has today, being featured on Good Morning America, the Today Show, all of those things? I mean, I
No.
was doing research. You're listed as like a gift to give people on Brit and Co.
No, I didn't. And I will be honest with you. I remember being like so embarrassed to put this out into the world and be like, I'm making a pet friendly candle. And people are going to be like, you're out of your mind. No one's going to want this. Who cares? Don't leave your day job. Like, start counting your pennies and saving your pennies for a rainy day. No, I never did, in all honesty. Did I believe in the idea and think it was a good idea? Absolutely. But I needed other people to as well. And we were sort of at the perfect place at the perfect time, I guess, over COVID. It was such a wonderful thing. People cleared the shelters. And, now these pets that people have adopted and pets that people have had for, 5, 10, 15 years, people really care and want to take care of these animals and themselves. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah, you keep talking about pets, and I really want a dog, and I've been telling my boyfriend I really want a dog, and I'm like, maybe next year,
That's right. Christmas, Hanukkah, it's all
Christmas.
coming up.
So, speaking of goals, what were your goals and aspirations for the business when you started, and how do those compare to what your goals are now for the business?
So when I first started the business, in all honesty, I was making them and giving them as gifts. And then I felt I always want a challenge. So I thought, okay, if I'm making them and giving them as gifts and people are liking them, maybe I should have a website. So note that this was over COVID. There was not much to do. I had like all day to find something to do after my job was over. So I learned how to code a website and I made the website. And I thought, I'm going to pitch this to the press. How do you get things out there? I didn't have a budget for paid ads or anything like this. And so I needed to do everything organically. So I thought, I'll pitch to the press. And I pitched to the press and we got picked up. And I have to say, I've just worked with some of the nicest, most wonderful editors. I do not come from this world. I didn't know anyone, but if you do your research and you believe in it, it really can happen. I'm living proof of that.
How did you reach out to the press? Was it like through, I know a lot of people say, like, I reached out to them on Twitter, or now X, whatever it's called. Did you email them? Was this like Instagram DM? What was your actual process of getting to the press?
So I may be the only millennial alive who doesn't have a Twitter, X, whatever it
I
is.
don't have a
Um,
Twitter.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. So I'm not on Twitter. I'm not DMing, whatever. So I did it the old school way. I would literally go to, the Skim or Brit and Co, Birdie, Forbes, whomever. I would see who was covering candles, fragrance, anything like that. And I would read the articles and I would see, what exactly they're covering, all this. I would Google search their email. Sometimes it takes a very long time to find these emails. And I would shoot them an email and say, hey, I've started this company. I'd love to send you a sample. And, that has proved to be very fruitful for me. It's also proved that you don't need to launch your brand with even $10,000, let alone $100,000 for these Facebook ad budgets or Google ad budgets. So that's exactly how I did it.
That is so cool. Yeah, I've been trying it to get into the brand partnership arena, and the amount of Google search time I've spent looking for these brand partnership emails. You can find a lot out on the internet, let me tell you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you face any imposter syndrome when you were starting the business, or were you kind of just like, I'm going to do this, no holds bar?
Of course, I faced imposter syndrome. There's no doubt about that. I think also, though, if you are starting something, no one is going to believe in it and make it work more than you are, right? Like your mom's not going to be able to do it for you. Your partner is not going to be able to do it for you. So I remember too, I was just talking to my husband about this. It's so funny. It was October of 2021 and things were starting to open back up. And I did a bunch of research on small businesses, small gift home businesses in my area. And I took 2 weekends and I literally went door to door and made them gift bags of like, hey, I'm a new brand in the area, da da da. And you never know who knows who. And those were how I got my first POs. And I think I had probably 10 small businesses by the time I got Macy's. You have to believe in yourself more than anyone else. But of course, there's imposter syndrome. There's always going to be, I think.
No, I agree. I face imposter syndrome. I talk about this a lot with just doing this podcast. Like, why does someone want to listen to what I have to say and the advice that I have to give? It's something, I mean, I even was going through it last night. I was like, why am I doing this? And coming back to your why, I think is also really important because other people may believe in you, but you're the one that actually has to sit in that discomfort and keep going and say, F imposter syndrome, I've got this. I'm just gonna put it out there and I'm gonna be vulnerable and make it happen. One of the things you said that I really wanna highlight is that you taught yourself to code. What was your background like in college? And then how did you end up teaching yourself how to code?
So, yes. I went to college and I got a journalism degree, journalism and communications. I really did that because I had no idea what I wanted to do, if I'm being totally honest. I think a lot of people at 18, when they tell you, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? I would argue most people have no idea. So I thought, I'll get this degree and I can really do what I want with it. So I have a degree in journalism and communications. And I have always been curious, though. I have always wanted and been a lifelong learner. And so I really wanted a challenge. And I really just truthfully, it's called YouTube University and Google University. That's how I taught myself. There are classes that I'm sure maybe could have taught me it a lot quicker. But again, I knew I was going to put a bit of money into the business. So I wanted to save where I could. And I taught myself on YouTube and Google.
That's incredible. Like I if you have a passion and you wanna get out there, this is your sign. Teach yourself how to code. Coding's
Yes,
actually not that hard. I mean, I taught myself how to code from Khan Academy, Google University.
totally. Exactly, exactly, and I think a lot of people, don't do it because 'cause they're scared it's gonna be hard or you're gonna fail, and, like, just start, and it gives you confidence too, to just start and just keep going. That's all you can do.
Speaking of starting the business, so as we've talked about, you started during the pandemic. There were so many uncertainties during the pandemic, and when you started, were you working full time or you had
Yeah.
left? You were working
Oh,
full
I was
time.
working full time.
Yeah, that's incredible, number 1. How did you kind of deal with the uncertainties of the pandemic? How did it change your approach to maybe your business strategy or your decision making, or did it change your approach?
I think as far as did it change my approach? Not really. It was definitely, I would say, hard because for candles and fragrance, a lot of people aren't buying it off the internet. You want to go in, you want to smell it. So with COVID, a lot of people weren't one going into stores and two going in to smell something in a store. So we had to really work around that. So the scent descriptions on our website had to be even better than normal. We had to have little cards that we put at the stores, hey, if you don't want to open this, totally cool. This is typically what it smells like. Or here's a really popular fragrance that this one smells exactly like. So there's always a way around it. But I would say that, maybe starting a business over COVID was a little harder. I don't know. I guess I can't really say because I've never started a business not over COVID.
I think almost, I mean, with candles, it's a little different because you do want to smell that, but I s I started a lot of things during COVID because I was
Yeah.
home, you save so much. I was going to an office, and so you save so much time by not driving. I went to grad school during the pandemic. I would have never been able to go to grad school because my job's 50% travel had the pandemic not happened. So there is this theme of, like, persevering during the pandemic and turning this horrible, awful situation into a very, very successful business. You talk about scents, and obviously scents are very important. I have my celebrate the season here, giving it out as gifts for the holidays because that one's my favorite. How did you choose the scents that you thought would resonate with your customers, align with your brand identity? I always feel like scents evoke so much emotion and memory for us.
Definitely, definitely. So I would say it's 50-50 what I like, what friends like, what family likes. And then there are a few that I'm like, I actually would not burn this in my home, but it's super popular for others. I think that there's that line of everyone's different. Scent is so personal. So I wanted
It
to
is.
have, every hit of the spectrum, and that's all going to be different. So that's really how I did it was, I worked with my sort of fragrance factory is what they call them. And we looked at everything across the spectrum. And the one that actually is probably one of our best sellers, I never thought. I was like, oh, this will be cut in a year. People love it.
Yeah, scent is so personal. For me, I'm one of those people who, if I smell something, like, a memory is immediately triggered. That's why I love candles
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so I did order, companion candles during the Black Friday sale to give out
Yes.
as gifts because that's the perfect gift to give, like, your girlfriends, new moms, people with pets. All my friends have pets, and I was, like, going through the scents thinking, this one is like Colleen, this one is like Bianca, this one fits Teresa." So,
Totally.
I'm really excited to give them for the holidays.
That's awesome. No, thank you so much. And I think I don't know if I mentioned, but we also give a portion of proceeds back to animal welfare organizations. So with each purchase, part of that purchase is going to animal welfare organizations.
That's incredible. Not only are you a women-run business, but you also do give back to the community, which I think is so important. A rising tide lifts all boats. So shifting gears a little bit, hindsight is 2020, but looking back, would you do anything differently?
Always.
Of
Always. I
course.
love hindsight. I love hindsight is 2020. I will say probably the hardest thing and the biggest thing is and be easy on yourself when starting a business because you don't know what you don't know. I am in the world of CPG, consumer packaged goods. Typically, I think you think food and beverage for that, but CPG spans a lot of things besides food and beverage. Typically, you don't need to take venture capital or private equity money for this. I bootstrapped for quite a long time, and then your POs can fulfill back into the business. I think I had known that a little bit better, or that there are many ways to have non-dilutive capital and things like that. But that would probably be my biggest takeaway is that if you have a CPG company or you have something a physical goods that you're selling, look at different banks that so you don't have to give away your company. I was lucky. I have given away very, very, very minimal of the company, but that's also because I was able to do my research early on and had wonderful, wonderful mentors.
Speaking of mentors and the relationships you had while building this, how did your relationship with your family or your now husband play a role in companion candles? Were they supportive? Could you have done this without them? I'd love to hear you talk a little bit about that.
So I will say, and I'm the first to say, I recently got married. So when I started this, my husband was my boyfriend, then my fiance, then my husband. And he has been the biggest support. I always say, how crazy is it to have your girlfriend come to you and be like, by the way, I have this great job, but like, I don't know, I think I'm going to start a candle company. Like, I always am like, what did you actually think? And he is very sweet and says like, well, if anyone could do it, it's you. And I'm thinking like, no, but what's like your real answer?
Yeah.
So I always say, his support has been everything. Having a supportive partner is everything. He comes from this world. We both worked at Grubhub. We met there. So I'll also say he's much, much smarter than me. So being able to bounce ideas off of him has been amazing. Another thing I also will say as far as family is, and this may be controversial, I don't know. I don't believe in taking money from family. So I know that a lot of people's first investors or angel investors are friends and family round.
Mhm.
I did not want to mix business with family, business with pleasure, whatever you want to call it. It was strictly, if people wanted to help out in the business in any way, sure. But I did not want to be tied and mix things as far as money. Money can change people, money changes every day. Didn't want to do that.
That is incredible, and I think that's definitely a hot take because I know a lot of startups and maybe particularly female startups. I don't want to gender that specific topic, but you think how am I going to bootstrap or how am I going to get this financing? And a lot of people, a lot of venture capital firms do not take women seriously and do not
Mhm.
take women-owned business, female-founded startups seriously, so they won't give you the money. So your only other option is to bootstrap. And who do you know that has money? Who do you know that is willing to give you money? It's generally your family. So I can
Mhm.
imagine that's so hard to be like, I love you guys so much. The best way you can support this business is by buying my product, but I
Mhm.
don't want to take any money from you, et cetera. I can imagine that was probably a little challenging.
Totally. And I totally, totally agree with you, unfortunately. And hot take, I find it disgusting that women founders and female founders are so underfunded and underrepresented. It's gross. But with that being said, I also think strides are being made, and there are some really, really amazing firms that are going through with funding and taking women more seriously. But absolutely, sometimes your back is against a wall, and there are times I fall asleep at night and think, if a man had started this business, he would have gotten, XYZ. But again, to think that way doesn't help.
Yeah.
Doesn't help.
You just got to put one foot in front of the other and do your best as much as you can. One of the cool things about companion candles is that it really did disrupt the candle industry. I mean, I don't think there was a pet friendly candle industry. And if there was, it wasn't that big. Do you think that disruption is required in order to have a successful startup or a successful business?
You know what? I don't. I really don't. I think that it is people are disrupting everything every day, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a 50 versions of water now, and there's 1,000 versions of pet food, and there's this, that, and the other. So I think a lot of it has to do with the founder. A lot of it has to do with timing and fit and all of that, right? Like I'm not sure if we need another version of water right now, but maybe 10 years from now, it'll be another disruption. So I think disruption is kind of a funny word because like there's not much left to disrupt. I think a lot of it is just your timing.
Yeah, timing plays a really big role, I think, with everything. You, I think, might have a little bit of a first mover advantage because not many people are talking about their candles being friendly for pets. It's more like, what the heck am I breathing into the air while I'm working from home for 12 hours a day?
Totally. Totally. Absolutely. Yes.
So I know for me, I like to light a candle, maybe pour a glass of wine, pour a glass of non alcoholic wine, and find a little bit of a relaxation. That's why I love candles so much, a little self care. How do you incorporate wellness principles into companion candles?
So I love when customers tag us. We have so much UGC of people using it to relax with their pet. So whether, again, they're having a glass of wine or a soda or a water, whatever, we love, love, love to see what you're doing with companion candles. We got a lot of pictures of people or videos of people lighting their candle, getting in the bath, whatever. That has been amazing to see and really fun that we've sort of become quintessential when you think of your take care of me routine and things like that.
How do
Yes.
you prioritize self care in your own life?
So I'm a big bath person.
Aren't we all?
I Oh my God, the best. And I'm like, you know what? I can't be on my computer. I can't really be on my phone. So I love to, after a long day, or even if it hasn't been a long day, chill out in the bath. I have like my whole bath routine. It's a whole thing. So yeah, and I think also just in general with my dog taking longer walks. And, sometimes if I can take a meeting and be on my headphones and walking, that's enough too. So it just depends, but I'm a big bath person.
In order to take care of yourself, I can imagine you're probably juggling 100 different things at any given moment. Do you have any advice for people who are really trying to find that balance or maybe that work life balance as an entrepreneur, building your own business?
Yeah, I think, balance it means something different to everyone, right? Like balance to one person maybe waking up every day at 5 a.m. and doing yoga and, having oatmeal or whatever. To me, that sounds like my personal hell. I would much rather wake up at, 7:30, have a coffee, get going. It's just dependent on you and what makes you happy. And don't let anyone shame you into, well, this is what I do and this is what works for me. Like, it's going to be different for everyone. And that's also okay.
It is absolutely different for everyone. For me, self-care looks like maybe having some floor time where I just lay on the floor and contemplate life's
Totally.
existence.
And that's okay. And that's awesome. That works.
Yeah, sometimes it just gets a little overwhelming and you just need to shut the
So
world
true.
out.
So true. And there are many times I've done that as well.
Your journey and your expertise has been so inspiring, can be so inspiring for aspiring entrepreneurs, both male and female especially. Have you taken any steps to mentor or support others looking to start their own businesses?
Definitely. So I have just started consulting. I have had so many amazing clients, male, female, small business, or just looking to, get to the next step in their business. So I actually am opening that up right now. I have a few slots. I only take a few solely because, I want to be able to give my attention to absolutely everyone that I work with. But yes, as far as mentorship, as far as helping build businesses, that's super, super important to me because, again, like I said, you don't know what you don't know. And there are way too many people in this world who are trying to step on others to get higher and to gatekeep. And to me, that's the worst thing you can do. So, absolutely. And if anyone wants to reach out, I can give my info, we can put info, whatever.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes. We'll continue.
Perfect.
We're gonna get a lot of information about your consulting business. What
Perfect.
has it been like running a consulting business while also trying to run a startup and a successful company?
You know what? It's all, again, the balance. And like I said, I only take a few clients. I do not have some, 1,000 clients and, download here and whatever. And I do work with clients that are super passionate and super interested in sort of, taking their brands to the next level. And I love the challenge. It doesn't mean, I had worked with a SaaS company and SaaS was not my expertise. I'm more in the CPG space, but I get to learn along with them. So I think, again, that lifelong learning is the best thing ever.
Lifelong learner, always trying to learn something new. When you are working with these people or you're consulting, what kind of coaching or mentoring can someone expect when working with you?
Yeah. So, first things first, I would say 99% of brands fail. Hot take. Because there's no brand vision. And think of the brand vision as, the bread and butter of your company. If you do not know what the brand is, the brand vision, you're not going to be able to sell the company. You're not going to be able to sell your products. You're not going to be, people are going to be confused. So, really honing in on this brand vision is what we do first. And then we build out from there. Okay. Are you on the correct social channels? You may not need to be on TikTok. I don't know. Well, you may not need to be on X, Twitter, whatever. I don't know. We'll look into those together. And then we essentially set up the groundwork and set up different templates for, press, for sales emails, things like that. And then, you go from there. I'm always here to help you in any way I can, but really setting up this foundation and making sure you have a solid foundation is mostly what we work on.
How did you learn to do all of this? I mean, I'm sure some of this comes from your college experience, but I'd say most of this probably comes from life experience. You're also young, early, and I wouldn't say you're early in career, but to the boomer generation, we are early in career. We're about the same age. So do you ever find that people maybe don't take you seriously or they say you don't have enough expertise to teach me about this? Like, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
100%. I think that, there's always going to be that with age, but I also think age is an advantage, right? Like when
Snaps.
I
Age
was,
is an advantage.
yeah, it's an advantage. And I think that, you know, to age is a beautiful thing, but whatever I do, if I pray all my might, I can't be 70 overnight and look back and have all this life experience. But for 31 years old, and, I'm sure you feel the same, you have some pretty good experience under your belt. So, and you can prove that with what you've done. People can look at my website and I can say, yeah, like I garnered this press. I got these stockists. I coded this website. So I think that obviously helps as well to see people can see tangible things. And I can say, yeah, go look at our GMA segment or our Today Show segment or whatever are always good things to have in my back pocket.
No kidding. I think as soon as you put, I've been on Good Morning America, I've been on the Today Show, which the Today Show
Yeah,
is actually my favorite show. And normally I have my Today Show mug, but
that's
I watch
awesome.
that segment and I look at, I've actually looked at all the press for companion candles and it's so incredible to see. And I think once you get that type of press, it's a lot easier for people to take you seriously for whatever
Totally.
reason.
Totally. Totally. Yeah, absolutely agreed.
So you're coaching, you are running this business. Do you have any other current ventures or any other ventures that you're thinking about starting?
So funny. I feel like every entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it, always has 1,000 things in their back pocket. But I will be honest, right now, I'm really focused on building Companion. I'm really focused on the clients that I have. And I'm recently married. So I'm really trying to just enjoy being married and not try to fill my plate with too much. I don't want my cup runneth over just yet.
I think that is so self-aware of you because most people, most entrepreneurs I know, their cup runneth over
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
For other fellow entrepreneurs probably juggling multiple roles like you are, what advice would you give them to help them navigate, say, the complexities of entrepreneurship while trying to stay true to their brand and true to themselves?
I think it always comes back to remember why you started. So I started truly this business, started Companion Candles to make the homes that our pets are in healthier. A healthy pet starts in the home. Where are they spending 99% of their time? Sleeping on the couch or, whatever. So coming back to why you started, and also I really wanted to help rescue animals. I did not want to start a company. It was important to me that whatever I did, I was able to help rescue animals. I mean, my dog has, I know I sound crazy, but my dog has changed my life. And the more that I talk to people and the more I get into the business, the more, our customers agree and buyers agree and the press agrees. So I think always remembering why you started will really ground you.
I don't know how we can go anywhere after that. I mean, that's so perfect. Know why you started. I always come back to that with this podcast is why did I start? I started to tell people stories, to tell women stories, to show people that success is not linear and that if you have a dream, you can absolutely make it happen. You just kind of have to believe in yourself. And I think that kind of gets lost for a lot of people is what truly happens when you believe and you stay true to yourself.
I love that. I love that. I could not agree more.
So, to wrap us up, to finish us out, we always end with the same question, which is what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
Love it. Love it. I would say don't care what other people think. Like, it does not matter what other people think. It matters what you think about yourself, about, your self confidence and things like that. There's so little things that matter in life. The most important is what you think and how you feel about yourself. That will always, always guide you.
I couldn't have said it better. Loren, thank you so much. It has been such a pleasure having you on Christina in the Valley. There are plenty of ways to help support Loren's business, to reach out to her. All of it will be linked in the show notes. You can buy her candles. They do make excellent holiday gifts, and you can work with her one-on-one for direct coaching. Loren, thank you so much. As always, if you love our chat, please be sure to like and follow so you never miss an episode. The best way to support this podcast is to share with your friends and family. You can find Loren on Instagram and TikTok at Companion Candles, which will also be linked in the show notes. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Christina in the Valley for some exclusive and behind-the-scenes content.